Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about Necromancer. He is the fusion hero. I believe if you go to craft, yep, he's in here. You fuse these three and get a voodoo walker, and you can then craft Necromancer. And he is a pretty handy champ. If you have played Summoner's War, we'll get this out of the way. He is the parallel to Vero from Summoner's War. So if you have an idea of how to use and build Vero, you pretty much have an idea of how to use this guy. If not, let's go ahead and talk about him. As far as his base stats go, once you get him maxed out, he's got pretty good base HP. That's pretty good. 100 base speed is fine. His base defense, his base attack. All of his base stats are not really that bad. If we look at someone who is an attacker, she's got 2,000 base. Spider Queen has 2,000. Lich King has 1,800. And Lich King's the best farmer in the game, right? So 1,400 for an assist hero is not that bad. You know, Dragoon has 900. There's varying degrees. Medusa's attack is actually pretty nice, but 1,400 is not a bad base attack, okay? You won't often be building this dude for attack, but it's there and it's nice because some of his stuff does scale off of attack, so it's there. Either way, his base stats are pretty nice, okay? Now, I will say, as I'm getting into him, that if you are familiar with Vero from Summoner's War, Necromancer's not as good, in my opinion. I wanted him. He is good. He's handy. He's very helpful. Don't get me wrong. If you are newer in the game and you're free to play, especially, he is well worth the attention. Okay, he's well worth the resources. He's well worth it. He is going to make your life easier. There's just some things about him that I would like to be different. So let's go ahead and talk about his skills real quick. His A1, surround the enemy in darkness, whatever. 375% of attack damage. Restore 10% HP to the ally with the lowest percent HP. This is a really handy A1, okay? Obviously, he'll be using his A1 more than he uses anything else because it'll never be on a cooldown. You can skill it up and bump the recovery up quite a bit. To my knowledge so far in this game, skill ups are additive and not multiplicative, so it will turn into a 30% heal, which is pretty crazy, right? Pretty nice. Going to be very handy, especially when you're trying to put together teams to get through C10 and L10 and the keeps. This is going to offer quite a bit of support on top of his leader skill if you need it, which is another 33% to HP. So, very nice first skill. I have no complaints there. It would be nice if he poisoned, but again, that's just what I'm familiar with. This is a different kind of contribution to the fight, and this is very handy, especially if your team is struggling a little bit to stay alive. For his options for A2, we have an AoE with a chance to freeze. Now, skilled up, you can get this to a 40% chance to freeze. It's AoE, that's pretty nice. AoE crowd control is really handy, going to really help you out in the waves, in the higher levels of the dungeons. If you're struggling, it's going to help you out in Spire and Vapor Dreamland. It can be very nice in Arena. It can be very helpful in the campaign. Pretty good, and that's kind of the case with Necromancer. He's good across most content. You know, you can use him in a lot of different ways in a lot of different places, and this is an example of something that's going to be pretty good across the board, okay? Here, his other A2 is Death Nova. Throws out soul orbs at all enemies 3 times. Each pearl does 85% of attack damage, has a 30% to reduce attack. If an ally is killed, then this skill gains a drain effect. Now, this is pretty nice too. It's going to be a pretty reliable attack break. Even though it's a 30% chance, it hits everybody 3 times. So it's a pretty good chance to land that attack break, which again can be very handy in waves where enemies are killing you quickly. Basically the same way that this applies in its utility for, in the places that it's useful for crowd control, this is useful to help your team be able to take hits better. Okay, so both of these are fine. Both of these are good. I prefer the freeze to the attack break, but as I explore different content and do different things with him, maybe I'll put the attack break to work, but they're both useful, okay? If you've got someone else with crowd control on the team, then maybe this would be the way to go, so that you can also put up the attack break for 2 turns. If you don't have anyone with crowd control, then maybe this one's the way to go. For his A3, the big thing that's going to help you out that you're going to want to be focusing on here is the passive Immortal Aura. At the start of each turn, 70% chance to erase 1 negative status effect from all allies. Skilled up, it's 100%, okay? You really want to get this skilled up if you can. I have not done it yet. Again, I've been working on different things, but this is something that you do want to get skilled up for sure. You want that to be happening every time he gets a turn. And what it does is it cleanses 1 debuff from every ally, okay? So if someone puts up defense break on everybody, or someone puts up whatever it may be, this will cleanse it off. Except anything that's going to lock them, any inability debuffs. So petrify, stun, freeze, anything like that that crowd controls someone, it won't get rid of. Everything else it will. Help, everything else it will. Help. Why am I saying help block? Heal block, defense break, block buffs, anything else it will get rid of, okay? Now, Dragoon's Duel is a debuff that can be cleansed, which can work both ways. This is just kind of something I'm throwing in. If you've got a Dragoon, you can pair it with your Necro. She will put a duel on someone. Your Necro will cleanse the duel off of your own Dragoon, and she can put a duel up on someone else and lock down 2 different targets with a duel, right? Because it won't get cleansed off them unless they have a cleanser. So it's got some pretty nice uses paired with certain heroes, but all around it's very effective. It's very good. It's very useful. And then for each effect remove, restore 3% of own HP. So for every debuff he removes, he's going to heal himself. And if everyone's got a debuff that he removes, that's a 12% heal, okay? So pretty handy passive. Now, the other things he's got is another passive at the start of each turn, a chance to reduce max HP and restore own HP by the amount he destroyed. And then it can go up to 40%. Doesn't work on bosses. The fact that it doesn't work on bosses makes it kind of meh, in my opinion, right? It has its uses. It could be okay to use in some places. Certain stages of Vapor and Spire and things of that nature. Really long arena fights, I guess it could be good, but it's not that great. If it worked on bosses, maybe it would be a little bit more useful, but it does not. And then his other one, follow the Wraith and enter the realm of the dead. Summon a Wraith, 80% of target's lost HP and fixed damage, so it ignores defense, but it also doesn't work on bosses. So again, this is a dude that you're going to be using a lot for PvE content. So the fact that this doesn't work on bosses is not super helpful, and it's on a 6-turn cooldown, 5 turns skilled up. So I really think that Immortal Aura is the way you want to go for Necromancer. And then A2, it's preference. If you've already got some crowd control, you don't have to use his crowd control. But either way, this passive right here is extremely helpful, right? When you're in your dungeons and defense break is getting put up on your heroes or heal blocks getting put up on your heroes, he's going to take care of that. He's going to get that off and really help your team stay alive and really contribute some good, solid support to the team, okay? As far as his runes, basically what you're looking for out of this guy is speed and HP, and then if you can swing it, you want hit percentage, especially if you're trying to rely on the freeze or the attack break that he's offering with his second skill. But it's very important this dude is fast, because the more turns he gets, the more often that passive goes off, the more likely he is to keep debuffs off the team. You want him to have HP because you want him to be able to take a hit, right? And you want that's basically it. You want him to stay in the fight. You want to make sure he's not getting one-shotted. You want to make sure that if he catches a defense break, it's not going to be the end of him, right? So that's why I say stack HP over defense and then hit percentage again so that he can land his debuffs. Now, as far as what rune sets to put on him, you can see I've gone Agile Focus. Agile is a really, really good set to put on this guy. If you can get your hands on them, Berserk runes are a really good set to put on this guy, because then if you start getting multiple debuffs put on your team and he starts taking extra turns, he's going to cleanse every time he gets a turn, so he can wipe off, all the debuffs on your team if he happens to get lucky and get a couple of turns. So really, really handy set if you can get your hands on him. I wouldn't sacrifice stats too much to get a Berserk set on him, though. If you're going to cut his speed in half and his HP is going to drop drastically for a Berserk set, it might be better to just stick with an Agile set, right? So I've gone Agile Focus. In slot 2, you're going to want to go speed. And then in slots 4 and 6, you're going to want to go HP percentage, okay? And again, you're just trying to shoot his speed and HP up as high as you can, and then get some hit percentage on him in the substats. And as you can see, that's why I want to focus set, so that I could get the stats on him. And that's really it. He's not super stat hungry. He doesn't need a lot of things. He doesn't need crazy sets. He doesn't need crazy stats. Just get some speed on him, get some HP on him, and get whatever hit percentage you can get on him. And he'll be very helpful. Now, as far as Sanctify, if you want to fuse another Necromancer and put a Sanctified skill on this guy, if you'll notice, it's kind of like HP, attack, defense, and then hit percentage and resistance, right? That's kind of how the columns are set up. So in the HP set, I would say that the best one to do generally is Robust. Okay, it's a 15% bump to base HP, but then it's also damage reduction. Okay, so that's a lot of damage mitigation just permanently across the board. It can't be disabled. It can't. It's not tied to your defense, so it's not mitigated by or it's not affected by skills that ignore defense, anything like that. To reduce final damage taken. And I've heard some people interpret this as meaning the hit that would kill him, the damage would be reduced. What it means when it says reduces final damage is after all the mitigation, right? So after his defense has mitigated damage, after any other damage reduction effects have mitigated damage, whatever the amount of damage he would actually take is from a particular skill is now reduced by 15%, okay? It's a very, very strong sanctified skill to just flat out reduce damage like that on top of getting his base HP up by 15%. Very, very handy. That's well over a 2,000 HP bump, okay? So, Robust is really, really good. Reflect damage is nice. It's worth trying, but it is a 20% chance, so it's not going to happen too often. So, I don't know that I would do it. You can also give him this one. If you want to make his support a little bit more effective with his A1, you can bump the healing up quite a bit. This can become a pretty substantial heal if you put Benevolent on him. So there's some fun things you can do with him, but if you're having trouble keeping him alive, Robust. If you want him to heal more, if the team is having trouble staying alive, I might try Benevolent. I might suggest that. If you're not having issues with either one of those, then I would probably do Hawkeye. Increase base hit by 20, that makes it a lot easier to find the amount of hit that you need in the substats. And then ignores target's resistance by 15% of own hit. So now you've got some resistance ignore stacked on the bonus hit that you're getting. So Hawkeye would be a really good way to go on him. So I would say Robust if you're having trouble keeping him alive. Benevolent if you're having trouble keeping your team alive. Hawkeye if you're not having either one of those problems and you want to get more hit on him, okay? I still think Robust is the way to go, but those are a couple of options I would suggest. And that's pretty much it. There's not a lot to see. There's no point in me really taking him anywhere because you get the idea. Every time he gets a turn, he's going to be cleansing a debuff off the team. He's healing with his A1, and he's either AoE freezing or AoE attack breaking with his A2. So it's all fairly straightforward. Very helpful, very useful. Again, if you're earlier, and especially if you're free to play, if you can add this dude to your roster, he's really going to open up the game for you. You're going to be capable of a lot more having this dude on your team than not having him on your team. So that's going to wrap it up for Necromancer. If you have any questions, drop them for me in the comments below. Nose just got real itchy. That's awesome. Drop any questions you have for me in the comments. I'll be happy to help you out as I'm able. Otherwise, you can check out my description. There's a link to my Discord. If I'm not around to answer your questions, someone will be. It's a pretty helpful group of people over there. I stream at twitch.tv/JGigs if you want to try to catch me live at 6 p.m. Eastern most weeknights. And if you're wondering how I'm playing this on PC, there's a link in the description to download BlueStacks, which will allow you to play these types of games on PC. The link will prompt you to download 7 Deadly Sins because there's no Calibria link that I'm aware of yet. But it'll still let you download BlueStacks, and then you can download Calibria. And 7 Deadly Sins is also real good. I'll be making content for that as well. So that's going to do it. I hope you got some out of this. I hope it was helpful. Again, if you have any questions, drop them below. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you later.